Okay guys, today we're going to talk about the Nike SB Dunk Low Pro Limosine Skateboards collaboration shoe. Now, it's a little bit different today than how I did the last shoe review. That day, I actually went for the session and then just came straight away and put down my thoughts. And thank you to everyone who watched the video on that Asics Leggerezza FB Gino Iannucci collab. But yeah, this one is a dunk, and it's a collaboration with Limosine Skateboards, one of the newer, more interesting skate brands to pop up. I went and skated these this morning. I skated street. You guys will see the skate clips. What made me curious about these in the first place was this upper. To quote from the sneakers from the Nike site, it says, constructed with a rich football textured leather, the Limosine Dunk features a chrome outline swoosh and custom limo artwork, bringing you further into the frame. The bright blue sock liner was reimagined to mimic performance football cleats and co-branded logos. Finishing strong, the Limosine Dunk calls an audible with 4 football lace options and an Americana-themed heel tab logo. This is the heel tab logo right here, the Limosine logo. And this would be the swoosh that they're talking about. And this football textured leather is actually what made me interested in this shoe in the first place, because it literally feels like the pigskin on a football and looks like it as well. And I was curious how that would skate. But that's actually not the most interesting thing about this shoe. We'll get into it in a bit, but I want to pull out this insole. So this is like the pretty standard Nike insole nowadays. And I have to say that with this cup sole, it's more useful than I expected. Now this one has this texture on it, so let me put it in the light. Hopefully you could see it a little better. And when I first wore these, I could definitely feel the ridges on this. See, I'm running my finger across it so you can feel how deep they are. When I first started walking around in them, because I walked around in them for a day before skating them, I could definitely feel these ridges. And it was kind of like massaging. Like, it felt good, but it was a little bit distracting. And I was wondering what that would be like when I actually skated the shoes. So this morning, first thing in the morning, I went to Pan Pacific Park, and I had myself a skate session. I did some slappies, and then there's a little rail going down a walkway with like no push. I did a little no slide on that, and I did some ledge skating, and then I did some flat ground skating. And I have to say that I was pleasantly surprised, because if you guys have watched my videos wherever I talk about skate shoes, inevitably the Dunk comes up because it is one of the most popular shoes in skateboarding culture as of late. And you guys will know that my complaints in the past about Dunks have been how slippery they are. And even the last Nike shoe that I actually reviewed, the PS8, I talked about how slippery those were. Well, surprisingly, this sole was not slippery. And in fact, I'd say it's not slippery at all. It's actually quite grippy. And I skated the exact same deck that I skated when I reviewed the Leggerezza FB. And now it's been through a skate session. So, you know, the more you skate, the more the grip is going to wear down. And this Dunk gripped better than that Asics shoe. I have to say, honestly, I'll be upfront. This is actually the best skating shoe outside of a Cons that I've skated. I even enjoyed this a little more than the Curran Caples Van shoe, which surprised me because I've told you guys over and over again that I didn't like Dunks. And in fact, that the only Nike SB shoes that I'd ever skated that I actually enjoyed skating and would voluntarily skate were the Blazer. But this shoe just changed my mind about Dunks. And let me tell you why. So for one thing, I did hear that they updated the Dunk a while ago, and they made it a little more protective, and they changed the sole. And I have to say that it felt like a completely different shoe than what I had skated way back in the past when I had tried to skate Dunks before. They were always very slippery, and also they were bulkier than this, but they didn't feel like they protected your foot very well. Also, in the older Dunks, I think they had a thicker tongue than this. Like, this tongue is not completely thin, like let's say the Louis 2, but it's not as thick as the Asics I reviewed the other day either. It's like that happy medium. And so I could have my shoe as tight as I like to have it, where a Nike shoes fit like completely true to size, where this is a 12. And honestly, I could probably skate a 12 and a half, but my shoe didn't feel completely choked when I was skating these the way that I like them. I do have a fat foot, by the way. So they fit very nicely. But the other thing that surprised me was the like traction that this pig skin like leather gets on your board. So all the flip tricks that you'll see, they were all done first try. And I didn't struggle with that first kickflip, which if you guys know, that first kickflip is usually the worst trick that you do. And I was able to do a good one first try. Also, the switch flip first try felt really, really good. If you remember from the A6 review, when I did my tray flips, I felt my feet kind of slipping as I was scooping and when I was landing, and there was some squeaking. None of that with the tray flips. And you guys that have heard me talk about Dunks before, you will have heard me talk about how they squeaked. And the PS8 was really squeaky, which reminds me of the basketball shoes that I used to wear. And this other pair of Jordans that I have that someone gifted to me. They squeak all the time. That's like these guys, I get no squeak out of these. I didn't get it while I was walking. I didn't get any of it on my grip tape. This shoe gripped like a charm. I'm actually a little bit upset that I wasn't able to skate the ledges a little bit more, because what happened is by the time I got back down to the ledge, the sun was directly overhead and it was like 93 degrees. So whenever I put on wax, it would just melt off right away. So there were some tricks that I was trying. Like I tried a bunch of switchback tails and I couldn't get them to slide more than like an inch. And then I was trying front tail flip out, and I would wax it, and then the first try it would slide really well, the next try it would stick. There's a 50-50 that I'm going to put in there where I had waxed the ledge, and when I went to 50-50, I slammed. I nearly ate it really badly. My reflexes really protected me. So eventually, even though I had the fan that I recently bought for this camera, it overheated. And I got a lot more time than I usually would. I was shooting in 4K 60, so usually that overheats really quickly. But with that fan, I was able to get like maybe an hour of skating in total with the curbs and then the rail going down the pathway and then the ledge. I really wish that I got to skate more because I was enjoying skating these thoroughly. Now these are an expensive shoe. I paid $135 for these. After tax, it was like $143. And I did spend that, all my own money, to review these. A pair of shoes that I'm going to skate in once, which is a little ridiculous. And that's why, before I talk about the rest of the review, I want to invite you guys to join my Patreon. All of this investment, it's not cheap, and if you want to support the channel, you can join the Patreon. You can also purchase Collage Skateboards, www.collagesskateboards.com. You can buy me a coffee. All of that stuff is linked in the description. Now let's get back into the shoes. The one thing that I regret not being able to do was skate some type of gap in these, because my feet didn't get any type of fatigue from the skating that I did. I am going to wear these today when I go out and teach a skate lesson. I did walk around in these all day yesterday and they felt great. They felt protective. But yeah, due to the camera issues and my knee, the knee problem, I'm not very confident in my knee right now to go jumping down gaps. So I wasn't able to do anything like that. But from what I felt, these would be awesome to skate gaps in. And they would also be awesome for skating gaps because the flip tricks, they worked so well. Whatever improvements Nike SB did to the Dunk sole, it's a great improvement. And I say, I'm glad that I tried these out because it changed my perspective on Dunks, because I was still basing them on the Dunks prior to the refresh that they did on these a few years back. As far as durability, like if you look at this shoe, my front shoe, and you'll see all of the tricks that I did, they've held up pretty well. Like there's some scuffing, but they didn't start to actually rip away in any spot. and the sole is still pretty much brand new with all the skating that I did. It's pretty good. Switch side has basically no wear because the only switch tricks I did a nollie nose slide, and I did like a nose slide nollie heel flip out, and I did like a switch heel and a switch flip, and those are and then I did attempt a bunch of switchback tails. As far as their flick, I was able to do a kickflip first try on a cup soled shoe on a deck that had already been skated before. This is kind of a kickflip shoe. It does have the little point. Where I have to ding these is value because they cost $143 after tax. And for a pretty bare bones skate shoe, like that's a lot of money. You know, now this is a collaboration shoe, and I think most of the people who buy this are not going to buy them to skate them. They're not going to be idiots like me. I think most people that are going to buy these are going to be collectors. And I think I would imagine some of you guys aren't even going to wear them. But there are really cool design elements. I like the Limosine branding here. I like whatever this is in here. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that logo is. So if you look at the tongue, it's got the laces from a football. And they are like legitimate laces that are recessed into the tongue. So that is a pretty cool detail. There are some intricate details on that on this shoe that make it amazing. So who would I recommend this shoe to? I recommend it to obviously anyone that can spend basically $150 on a skate shoe without blinking. If that's you, then yeah, go ahead and buy it. There's nothing to stop you from buying it. This shoe's durable. This shoe grips well, better than any other Nike that I've skated in recent years. This upper material feels better than like the leather on the Asics I skated the other day, the leather on the fast breaks that I've skated recently. It flicks really well. This is a great implementation of this like thinner Nike insole, but it has like some gels, and there's a different gel in the heel, or maybe it's like the Zoom material in the heel, but then in the ball of your foot there's like a gel. It seems pretty protective. Like I said, I didn't get any fatigue from this shoe. I wouldn't recommend this specific shoe to a kid who's skating, unless you're a really rich kid. If you are, then yeah, you can go for it. But it's just that. Maybe other dunks I would recommend. If they all feel like this, if this is how the dunk feels today, it's a great skate shoe, and I understand their popularity now. I'm glad that I skated it. These are awesome. They're very expensive. You could get 2 pairs of shoes for this. So if you're like someone who's really concerned with skating in the shoes and like having them last a long time, this probably won't be the one for you. But there's just so many, like I'm even finding details that I hadn't even paid attention to before. Like this is all like jersey mesh inside of the shoe, and it's really well done. And it feels like it'll be more breathable than the material they use a lot of times, which I don't know if that was the goal. I think the goal was just probably to have aesthetic cues from football lent to the shoe. But I think the overall implementation of it is it's done really well, and it's going to have a positive impact on the shoe and its longevity. So yeah, I think if you can afford it, get it. I'd say my overall rating of the shoe, if I'm not taking price into consideration, is like a 9. I give it a 9. It's that good. It skated that well. That being said, like and subscribe help this video get further, so maybe I can recoup some of that money that I threw down the drain, and enjoy skateboarding. Peace.